Hey everybody, my name is Spencer, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing the 1 to 5 player cooperative board game, The Night Cage, designed by Christopher Ryan Chan, Chris McMahon, Rosswell Saunders, and published by Smirk and Dagger Games. Before I do, would you please subscribe to the channel? The only thing scarier than a pitch black maze filled with creepy monsters is... well, there's not really anything scarier than that. Just subscribe and we'll be on our way. Okay, to be thematic, I'm going to do this whole review by candlelight, because that's all you have to work with when you begin playing The Night Cage. Here's the premise. You and whoever else is playing the game with you awaken to discover you are imprisoned in a pitch black labyrinth. Can you imagine how terrifying that would be? Like, a cave, whether moist or not, would be scary enough, but a labyrinth is infinitely more difficult to escape from. Anyway, working by weak candlelight, players must explore the labyrinth, collect one key for each player, and regroup at a single gate space. Also, there are creepy monsters lurking in the darkness. So this is a cooperative tile laying game at its core. Only by moving carefully, placing tiles strategically, and reacting to the horrible things that appear can players hope to get out alive. Here's the challenge. Since your candle is the opposite of a solar flare, you can only see the tile you are on and each orthogonally adjacent tile. That means not diagonally. If you move and a candle is no longer illuminating a tile, it's discarded as if being lost in the darkness. Now, that's not too big of a deal, except that you only have a limited number of tiles. At first they may seem voluminous, but soon you'll see how quickly they go. And when they're all gone, the end game is triggered, and if you can't get keys and get to the gate together, you'll be lost in the darkness forever.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally?
No I don't, Bane. Now this is really cool. The tiles stack in this holder that looks like a candle. You imagine as you are removing tiles from the stack that the candle is slowly burning down. It's pretty neat. There are all sorts of tiles that you'll be playing with. There are starting spaces, pathways, gates, crumbling passages, and 5 different types of monster tiles, including this guy. We'll get to him in a minute. The gameplay is pretty simple, and if you still have trouble understanding, there's an app called Dized that offers a digital tutorial free of charge. So after choosing a starting place on the board, players take turns making the choice to either stay or move. You stay, you get a nerve token, which are helpful in a few instances, and don't have to move into danger. However, time continues to pass, so you still have to discard a tile from the candle. Plus, if you choose to stay while on a crumbling tile, you fall into the pit of darkness, which actually isn't as bad as it sounds. Basically, that involves resetting in the same column or row you fell into on your next turn. Your other option on your turn, moving, is much more eventful. Imagine that, as you move, your light travels with you, meaning everything you were previously able to see is now in darkness. The way that translates in this game is, you discard the tiles you can't see anymore, and then you'll draw new tiles to be in the places that you can see. I love how thematic that is, and what's even more disturbing is if you do decide to turn around and go back the other way, you'll have to draw new tiles, meaning the maze is constantly changing in the darkness. Now, I don't hate many things, mainly just vegetables like asparagus or okra, but playing this game makes me hate the monsters. No, I don't actually hate them. They add difficulty to the game and make for some tense moments. They cause you to have to strategize even more. Here's why. As I mentioned, there are 5 different types of monsters you can play with. In a basic game, you only play with the wax eaters, but you increase the difficulty by adding in various combinations of the others. Let's do a quick breakdown of what they do. Wax eaters eat wax. If you get into or out of their line of sight, they attack all they can see, causing any victims to discard 3 tiles from the candle tower. Plus, they go lights out. This means you can only see the tile you are on. When you move, you have no idea what you are going to move on to. Again, super thematic. Fortunately, another player can relight your candle if you get next to them. Next is the keeper. I've talked about the need to get keys. If you play basic mode, keys are just on their own tiles. But the keepers actually keep the keys in the advanced game. They attack very similarly to the wax eaters. However, you must sneak around to the backside of these guys in order to get the keys. If you approach from any other direction, you'll get attacked. You've got pit fiends that when they come out, they turn all tiles on the diagonals into pits. There are 2 boss monsters. The Pathless's attacks are not blocked by walls and cause victims to discard 5 tiles. Let me take a second here to tell you why discarding tiles is such a bad thing. Sure, it causes the candle to go down faster, but even worse, you're discarding the very tiles you may need to win the game. There's only a limited number of gate and key tiles. It's very possible that you end up discarding your last hope of escaping. That's something very important you need to be aware of. Alright, back to monsters. Finally, we have the Dirge. When his omens are revealed, he shows up and is placed on the board in a way that will cover up as many tiles as it is big. Once his effects are triggered, he flips over and becomes a giant pit. It only goes away once it is no longer being lit by a player. These monsters make the game exponentially more difficult. I do appreciate that you have the freedom to adjust the difficulty. It makes it so you can cater the game to whoever is playing. Seasoned players, throw in the dirge and pathless. Newbies, stay away from all of them. The game is more difficult the more monsters you add, duh. To give you a sense of the game's difficulty, out of all my plays, I've only won once. When we did, we were overjoyed. And that's with basic and advanced sessions. I definitely think the basic game is just the right amount of difficulty. When my friends and I won, it was just barely. One more turn and we would have lost. I haven't won any advanced games, but I think that's good. You don't want to be scrambling around the darkness to be easy. There are a couple things I want to point out that I think you should be especially aware of. First of all is that the board is what the rulebook calls a cage without bars. Basically that means all edges of the board wrap around. You go off one edge, you come back in the same row on the other side. Sometimes that can get tricky when you're trying to figure out what is actually lit and who monsters can see and hurt. You may miss one or two places to add tiles if you aren't paying close attention. Another thing is that the game really is a 4-player game. All 4 candles must be in play regardless of player count. Playing solo, you have to move all 4. 2 players control 2 each. 3 players? Well, you all must share a candle. You can play with 5 players, though you'll use the opposite side of the board, which is larger. Now, I've been showing you the Kickstarter version of the game. It comes with upgraded acrylic components, including the candle, tile holder, nerve tokens, and 4th prisoner marker. Otherwise, they're cardboard. The candles were also an added bonus that you use to indicate if your light's out or not. They aren't really necessary. If you don't have them, you just flip your player mat over. The game takes about an hour to play, less of course depending on how well you do in the darkness.
I didn't see the light until I was already a man.
Okay, we get it. You like the darkness. You were born in it, molded by it, blah, blah, blah. Who will like this game? Well, groups of 4 are ideal, I think. Fans of cooperative games will enjoy it, unless you don't like the tile-laying puzzle aspect. And if you like creepy themes, this definitely fits the bill. I will warn you that there is the potential for alpha gaming, meaning one person could easily just tell everyone else what to do. Of course, the ultimate decision of where to put the tile is made by the active player. I think it's a great medium-length co-op that can be customized to fit any level of game group. The game does say it's for ages 14 and up, but I think it could work with players as young as 10. There are really creepy images, but other than that, there's nothing content-wise that would be inappropriate for children. I have a lot of fun when I play the Night Cage, even when I don't win. And you need to have that attitude because sometimes events just come down to the luck of the draw. You may not draw a gate or key tile until halfway through the stack. I bet you didn't think about that. Something I hope you did think about is subscribing to the channel. If not, think about it right now and go ahead and decide to do it. There are many ways you can support the Lighten Up initiative, like buying merch, becoming a patron, ordering a Hunt-A-Killer box. All the details are on the description below. Also, I want you to know that my buddy Segan and I have a podcast called Board Games Are Fun. Check it out for fun discussions about board games. Until next time, don't take the board game hobby too seriously, just lighten up. Or that's like the opposite of what you should do. So that was like turning the light out. Hold on a second. Just lighten up.